This is the Formula 6-speed, a 1973 Pontiac Firebird Formula wearing a Trans Am appearance package, and one of the most thoughtfully built LS swap muscle cars to come out of Southern California. Black body, blue and white stripes, and under that hood, an engine that never belonged to this car from the factory. That's exactly the point. The story of this Firebird starts in 2013 with a builder named Doug Peterson. Doug didn't approach this as a simple engine swap. He pulled a 5.7-liter LS V8 from a 2002 Camaro SS, the same Generation Z car that was already proving the LS platform's credibility in street builds, and he built it his way. The engine block got a coat of blue paint, a nod to the Firebird's blue striping that would carry through the entire build. A custom Ram air intake was fabricated to breathe through the original Trans Am shaker hood scoop, keeping the visual drama of the factory design while feeding the modern power plant beneath it. The chassis was done properly. Before any of the mechanical work went in, the body was prepped on a rotisserie, taken apart, gone through, and stripped back to give the build a solid foundation. That kind of starting point discipline is what separates a car that lasts from one that looks good in photos and falls apart in use. Behind the LS engine sits a Tremec T56 6-speed manual, also sourced from a 2002 Camaro SS. 6 gears in a 1973 Firebird, that pairing, an LS with a T56, is a proven combination that has earned its reputation in builds far more expensive than this one. In a car that weighs as little as a second-gen F-body, it makes for a machine that is both immediate and controllable. Out back, the rear axle runs 3.73 gears, a ratio that gives the car authority out of corners without sacrificing highway composure. The suspension was completely rebuilt. Ride Tech coilovers replaced the original leaf spring and A-arm setup, and subframe connectors add rigidity to the unibody architecture that these cars were never designed for at this power level. The result is a car that goes where you point it. The brake system tells the same story. Doug reached for Corvette Z06 hardware, bare calipers at all 4 corners, drilled rotors front and rear. This is not stock replacement territory. It is a purpose-built stopping system matched to the performance envelope the rest of the build defines. Rolling stock is 19-inch Billet Specialties wheels, a clean, modern billet design that suits the era of the body without trying to look period correct. Up front, 285/35 Nitto tires. Out back, 305/30s. That staggered setup gives the rear axle something to work with and keeps the stance exactly where it needs to be. Inside, the build carries through the same blue thread that runs from the engine block to the striping. The entire cabin was redone in blue upholstery and blue carpet. The dashboard was hand-stitched in leather. Speed hut gauges fill the binnacle, a tachometer redlined at 8,000 RPM, and a speedometer reading to 120 miles per hour. These are not decorative gauges. They tell you something real about the car's capability. Vintage Air takes care of climate control. A roll bar sits behind the seats. The Ring Brothers shift knob is a detail-level touch from a company that builds some of the best hardware in the pro touring space. The head unit supports Apple CarPlay and USB connectivity because Doug built a car meant to be driven, and a driven car benefits from modern navigation and audio without apologizing for it. The car was built in 2013 and eventually made its way to Roadrich Motors, based in Costa Mesa, California. Roadrich acquired it in 2021, and in January 2022, they brought it to bring a trailer. The auction ran to 54 bids. On January 16, 2022, it sold for $135,000. The mileage at sale was approximately 1,000 miles from the original completion of the build, with roughly 200 additional miles put on by the owner since. This is a car that has been driven, but carefully. The 1973 model year is the last of the second-generation Firebird before the 1974 facelift reshaped the nose. This specific car is a base Firebird Formula, a model known for its performance specification over the base Firebird Coupe, fitted with the Trans Am appearance package. That means it carries the visual identity of the Trans Am, the shaker hood, the rear spoiler, the striping, while being built on the Formula platform. The combination is historically interesting, and the execution here makes it something more than a spec sheet exercise. The blue engine block mirrors the blue interior. The custom Ram Air mirrors the original shaker aesthetic. The Corvette brakes and the Tremec gearbox and the Ride Tech suspension are not afterthoughts. They are the result of a builder in 2013 asking what a 1973 Firebird would be if it was engineered for performance in the modern era, not preserved as a museum piece. That is the Formula 6-speed. Built right the first time, by someone who understood what the car needed to be. It is worth pausing on the 2002 Camaro SS as a donor car because it is not an arbitrary choice. The LS1 in that generation of Camaro was factory rated at 310 horsepower. Pulling the engine and the T56 together from that car and transplanting both into a 1973 Firebird creates a powertrain pairing that is internally coherent. The engine and transmission were already calibrated to work together, and the behavior at the shifter reflects a setup that was designed as a unit from day one. The 19-inch Billet Specialties wheels deserve attention as well. The second-generation Firebird was designed with 14 and 15-inch wheels in mind. Running 19s means the suspension geometry, the coilovers, and the body clearance all had to be considered together. The Ride Tech coilovers make that geometry work. The subframe connectors address the chassis flex that becomes apparent once you remove the original compliance from the suspension and replace it with something significantly stiffer. What Doug Peterson built in 2013 is a car where every major performance system is considered together. The LS engine, the 6-speed Tremec, the Corvette Z06 brakes, the Ride Tech suspension, the staggered Nitto tires on Billet Specialties wheels. Together, they describe a single coherent vision for what a 1973 Pontiac Firebird Formula should be capable of doing. For Roadrich,